Welcome to my video explaining the Jump Dash Secrets Iceberg. This iceberg is focused mainly on secret or hidden details within the game and not the community. I'll be explaining each entry of the iceberg chart, going into deeper levels with more obscure facts about the game. I learned a lot of fascinating new details about the game from creating this vid, and I hope you learned something new too. Without further ado, let's begin. Player IDs are numbers assigned to each GD user when they open the game for the first time. They can be used to search for accounts as an alternative to using account names. The lowest player ID is RobTop with ID 16 and Darnock follows closely behind with player ID 20. There is no way to see your player ID in game, but you can use GD Browser or Ultimate GD Bot to find it. There also exists a separate ID named Account ID, which is the ID given to each user after they have created a profile. Hidden in the last page of settings, there is a profile icon that gives option for parental controls. These give extra options to turn off certain parts of GD from being accessible. If you turn on the comment blocker, the game will crash whenever you try to open the comment section. Disabling account posts works as intended. The Only Allow Featured Levels option removes the MacBack button but still lets you play Star Only and non-rated levels somehow. Strangely, there is no parental control password either, so children could just turn the restrictions back off, defeating its purpose. In the pause menu of the editor, there is a help button which will take you to a PDF of the official editor tutorial. However, despite being official, it was not made by RobTop or mods, and was instead made by a team from the Touch Arcade forums. Before this existed, there used to be a much simpler editor tutorial which was made by RobTop but was replaced due to being outdated. The GD editor may seem to go on infinitely, but there actually exists a faraway border limiting how long levels can be. If you were to use the entire editor length, on half speed the level would end up being 15 minutes 56 seconds, making that the longest time allowed. There are hacks that exist which let you go beyond this limit, but there has not yet been any featured level which uses this. Sirius is a 2.0 level made by Funnygame. What makes this level special is the fact that it makes use of the dash character in the level name. As you know, the GD editor doesn't allow special characters to be entered for level names. However, the GD editor also doesn't allow swear words in level title, and used to replace these words with the dash symbol in 2.0. Therefore, as Sirius made use of this trick, its original name would have contained cursors where the dash characters are. In each of the 3 vaults you need to enter codes from hint to unlock icons. However, in the vault secrets there are some special codes that don't unlock anything, but instead give some unique responses. These codes are shown above. Who is Batop? Comment what do you think this means below. This is a strange bug that appears rarely on some old comments where it gives a ridiculously long time ago. The year appears to increase as more time goes by, so it looks like this was an error where the recorded year was set to 0 somehow. You can follow users' profiles to have their newly uploaded levels appear in the followed section. However, similar to the friend limit, there also exists a limit on how many people you can follow, which is currently set at 100 followers. Unfortunately, there is no way to see a list of everyone you follow, so it can be hard to free up slots once you reach this limit. The only level in the game to have verified coins but no star rating is Dark Angel by Rono. I have no idea how this happened. Maybe Rob forgot to give us a star rating? There are 14 levels in game which have a featured ring but no star value. It doesn't seem to be an error since there are so many of these. Perhaps Rob found problems with these, such as being too short? Surprisingly, these levels give no creator points, so some of these creators managed to have a featured level despite having no creator points. Normally, creators can delete any comments on the level, but there do exist some exceptions. If RobTop comments in a level, the X button is actually gone, making it impossible to delete. Comments by mods and non-mods appear to be deletable, but if you refresh you'll see that a comment reappears. This was only changed recently, so it used to be possible to delete mod comments. RobTop owns an account on Newgrounds and has uploaded some songs which can be used in-game. These songs include the GD menu theme and the challenge song, but there are also a lot of unused songs. This account has existed before GD was created and was originally named Senmuron, which was Rob's old alias. You can also find Rob's first public game, Bounce Ball Thingy, which was made in 2010, and a video called Constant Struggle, made in 2007. There are some autos which were created in early updates which aren't actually auto and contain gameplay. They are quite hard to find due to them all having many dislikes, and so they appear in the last page of auto search results. The reason why these levels exist is because in the very early updates of GD the auto difficulty didn't exist, there was instead easy 1 star. RobTop mainly gave short and medium levels this rating until the auto difficulty was added to the game. In the daily chat comment section, on rare occasion RobTop will turn on different chat settings, turning it into chaos. This includes changing usernames, adding titles, changing text color, giving fake mod badges, or changing comment icon. This usually causes people to flock to the comments to see what changes were made to their comments. However, all changes made are temporary and will return to normal after Rob decides to stop. Although unused, within the GD game files there are all the songs used in the free games GD Meltdown and World. While you have to use hacks to be able to select these songs for your level, they can still be uploaded to the GD servers. One of the most popular levels to use a hidden song is Samflorino 1 by Roy Musti, which uses the song Airborne Robots from Meltdown. However, as these songs weren't ever intended to be used in the game, there has yet to be a rated level which uses one of them. The GD Meltdown icons are also within the game files and appear locked in the icons texture screen, but there exists no way to unlock them. These icons were supposed to be unlocked by saving and loading progress from Meltdown. However, if you try to do this, it will come up with this message saying that the icons will be unlockable in update 2.2. In Story Madness and Polargeist, there are secret messages that appear if you die twice in a row at the start of the level. In Story Madness, a message will appear telling the player to click to jump over the spikes. In Polargeist, a message will appear telling the player to click on the ring to jump again. Strangely, the message calls the jump orbs a ring. Does this mean we've been calling it the wrong thing this whole time? Within the game files, there are some blocks and triggers which do not appear in any of the editor tabs. Many of these are old objects from previous updates which were replaced by newer versions. For example, the old color triggers which were combined into a single trigger in 2.1. There are also a lot of old objects which couldn't change color which were replaced by versions which could change color in later updates. These old objects were never removed from the game files, so old levels could continue to run on later versions. However, you can still use these objects today if you turn them into a custom object. There also exists a fade trigger which was never used in any update, although it is quite glitchy, so assume it was never finished. Finally, there are some placeholder blocks within the game files which have hitboxes but use the start pause texture. These were obviously never intended to be used in levels, so it makes sense why these are hidden. When searching for levels, there is a filters page, with one of these filters being for songs. When you select this object, a box appears that lets you enter a song ID. However, if you try clicking on this box and entering numbers when it isn't there, you'll find that it somehow works. This means that when the song filter is turned off, the box strangely isn't toggled off, but is instead just made invisible. Within the game files, there are codenames for every game mode, some of which don't match the in-game name for them. Wave is called Dart, UFO is called Bird, as inspired by a bird, Cube is called Frame, and Trails are called Streaks. The Teleporter is a portal which lets you move up or down instantly. What makes this object special is the fact that it has a unique setting in the Edit Groups tab called Smooth Ease. This option takes the place of the group parent button, and it is the only object in the game to have a unique button like this. If Smooth Ease is turned on, the camera will use easing to make a smoother teleport movement if it teleports off screen. Personally, I don't think this setting is very noticeable compared to having the setting turned off. The term creator points is never actually mentioned in-game despite it being used so frequently in the community. The points on profiles are only ever represented by the creator symbol, and there is no name given to this stat anywhere in-game. This includes the info page, the creator leaderboard, and the description of the star-rated level achievement. Therefore, the term creator points must have been made up by a community member at some point, and perhaps not RobTop himself. This means that the term creator points technically doesn't exist within the game. If you enter 1E7 into the level search bar, it will take you to the 10 millionth ID. E notation is a way of representing numbers by powers of 10 and strangely works when entering IDs, probably unintentionally. This means that 1E7 is treated as 1 multiplied by 10 to the power of 7, which is 10 million. This trick can be used for other IDs too, such as 9E2, which is ID 9800. Another interesting thing is that the 10 millionth ID is actually a featured level named 10 million, being the only rated level with 0 and zeros in the ID. Hidden Creation is a level created by JF which has been showcased on both Nexus and Blueprint's channels. The concept of this cell is that it is not going to be uploaded publicly onto his profile and to instead stay hidden as an unlisted level. However, what makes this level special is the fact that unlike other unlisted levels, you don't need to be on JF's friend list to use the ID to find it. The ID to cell is hidden in a secret Morse code message in the second part of JF's other level, Morse. The ID is this if you want to try it out yourself. There are some strange symbols that can be found on some of the text fonts. On font 5, if you enter a hyphen, you get a place symbol, if you enter a greater than, you get a heart frame, and if you enter a less than, you get a chipped heart. Strangely, the texture of the heart frame was removed in the medium detail graphics, and so it is empty if you're on that setting. There is also an arrow symbol that can be found on font 9 by entering greater or less than. I'm surprised I've never seen these used in level before. However, on the texture sheets there is also a bullet point character on all fonts that can only appear in game by editing the level data files. According to the game files, these bullet points are supposed to appear if you enter the bullet point symbol. But as this isn't an ASCII character, it isn't recognised by the game, even when using a character bypass hack. After editing the level data file, I was able to make one of these bullet point characters appear in game. There are actually sprites for this character on every font, although some look very similar to the full stop character. The only place in game that the bullet point symbol appears naturally is for hiding passwords on the account login screen, only in PooSab. There is an unused menu for the created levels section which contains a slightly different layout. Compared to the normal layout, it has most of the buttons removed and the button for new is instead in the top right hand corner. Interestingly, there is a bug that can let you see this menu without hacks. To perform this trick, you need to press the button to upload level and quickly press the back button while it is loading. Now when you go back to the created levels menu, you will be taken to the beta My Levels tab instead. Within the save files of GD, there is data stored on every level you have ever downloaded. This data includes your percentage completion, the ID, and the level version number. However, there are also some secret values stored which are never shown in game and are kept hidden within the save files. To be able to see this data, you first have to run a decryption program on your save file to turn it into a readable text file. This decrypted text file contains a series of tags and values, each tag corresponding to a different level stat. Within the text file, the tags are grouped together into the level they are describing. Thankfully, some players have already figured out what each of these tags mean, and there is a website called GD Documentation which lists them all. There are a lot of hidden stats here, but I'll go through the most interesting ones. K27 stores feature score. This is the number used for featured levels to determine how high they are placed on the feature page, with higher values appearing closer to the first page. K80 stores the second spent editing level, and K81 stores the second spent editing level on previous copies. This can be used to find the exact time a level was created in. For example, a deadliest by Sapphire has a K80 value of 1000 seconds and a K81 value of 1,000,000 seconds, meaning the level was created in a total time of 385 hours. K85 stores the number of clicks on the best attempts of the level, so for example, on Sedgius it took me 162 clicks to beat it on my completing attempt.